What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of the podcast. I'm here with a guy that we've become pretty good friends over, I guess, the past year or so. Marc's been really kind to me and kind of like showing me the ropes in a lot of ways, especially here in Southern California. So I'm really glad to have you on, Marc.
Well, you know what, Sasha? It's an honor to be here, man. I got to tell you, when I started seeing you show up at shows, I'm like, damn, who's this guy showing up with like a guy with a camera crew, like following him around? Like, what's his deal?
Yeah.
So then, we watched like what you were doing. I think like what you're doing for the hobby is so good. Like, you're a storyteller. You're letting people know like where you are and what you're doing. And people like to see that. People in little towns that don't have the amount of stuff that we have here in Southern California, we're so lucky on a weekly basis to be able to go to so many different places,
100%.
whether it be shows and awesome shops. And people get to see that, and they like to see that because they don't get to experience that.
100%. Marc,
yeah.
If somebody doesn't know you, which is kind of rare here in Southern California, but if somebody doesn't know you, could you kind of give like a little like background of basically like what you're doing now, but also kind of get into like how you started?
All right. So the way that I started, I collected cards as a kid. I mean, like most kids do. I'm going to date myself here. I was born in 1976. So the earliest pack of cards that I can remember opening was like 84 tops.
Gotcha.
1984 tops. And then the earliest full box that I can remember opening was 1986 tops. So it was part of my life. Like, I love baseball.
Yeah.
I love sports. I can remember a time there was an old store back in the day called Fedco. You've never heard of it.
No, never.
Yeah, it was called Fedco. And my sister, who's 4 years younger than me, we're shopping like there as a family, and we're in the electronics section. And my sister goes, look, they have a TV like ours. And my mom's like, we don't have that kind of TV. It was a real nice TV at the time, right?
Yeah.
She goes, we don't have that TV. She goes, yeah, a baseball TV. Like, my sister thought the TV only played baseball games.
Got you.
Because that's all that was on TV the whole time in our house.
Yeah, the 80s was basically like peak 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
That was like peak baseball.
Uh-huh. So I mean, I love baseball. So like I said, I collected cards as a kid, and then I'd go to these shows. Well, I was at this show one time, and this guy sitting behind his booth, and he was like mad at the world, and he had a whole amount, like his whole table was full of stuff, like 3-4 feet tall. And he goes, I'm done with this business. He goes, $300, take it all. And
all of his stuff.
Yeah. My grandpa looks at me. He took me to the show, and he looks at me. He goes, Marc, you want it? I said, yeah, but Pops, I don't have $300.
Yeah.
I was a kid at the time.
How old were you? Do you know around how old you were?
Yeah, I was 14 years old.
Got you.
I was a freshman in high school. So he's like, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll pay for it, and as you sell it, you pay me back. But you got to do it the right way. You have to go get a business checking account or resale license, and you have to start setting up at shows. He said, but one thing, if your grades slip, that's it. I'm taking everything back. And I was like, all right, Pops, you got a deal. So, we called my mom. She comes down in this big old like hoopty station wagon at the time.
Yeah.
It was 1991.
How much could you explain, like, because $300 now in today's era doesn't get you much.
It doesn't get you anything.
What does it get you?
I'm not kidding you. This was, what they call the junk era.
Yeah.
And it was like a ton of cards from probably the late 70s to like early 90s, like, because this is 91. So it's all stuff that today doesn't have much value.
Yeah.
But at the time, that's what people wanted. There weren't a ton of options.
Yeah.
So we call my mom. She comes down. She picks up, in the station wagon, and we load everything up. And I started sorting it, and I started setting up at this card show. This was in Ontario. And one day the promoter comes up to me and says, hey, Marc, we got Ernie Banks coming in to sign autographs. Do you want to sit and like take tickets for him? Like, yeah, that's awesome. Like, I love Ernie Banks, like the Cubs, like it's Mr. Cub,
Yeah.
So I have WG, and I used to pretend that I was sick as a kid to stay home to watch daytime baseball because they didn't have lights at Wrigley Field. So like every game was on during the day. Like, it was pretty cool, you know? So I decided it'd be an honor to sit next to Mr. Cub and take tickets. So a few weeks later, he comes in, and I worked like 6 or 8 hours with him. And he was really intrigued that at 14 years old, I had my own little business, my own little setup and everything like that. And at the end of the signing, he said, Marc, it was a pleasure working with you. He goes, I want to invest in you, like that. And I says, like, you want to give me money? I didn't know what he was talking about. He goes, go get whatever you want. He goes, I'm going to sign it for you for free.
At the show. So you went to the show and
at the show, like right there, right? Like it was as he was about to leave. I said, are you serious? I had enough money in my pocket for 2 baseballs, man. That's what I had. So he signed one of them Hall of Fame, one of them Mr. Cup. And he said, I don't want you to keep these. I want you to put them into your inventory. I said, all right, Ernie, you got a deal. So he signed them. I eventually sold them. He stayed in contact with me for quite some time after that. He'd call the house at some point. My mom and dad were kind of like, why is this dude? Like, we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
He'd call the house. Hey, is Marc there? You know, like, it's kind of weird.
Are your parents like, what is going on? If
Dude,
like a major league baseball player is
my
like,
mom was, and she was from Chicago, and my dad's like, holy cow, this is crazy. It's awesome. Like Mr. Cup's calling, you know, like, it's cool. So my dad traveled a lot when I was a kid. So when the Nationals would come, we never had to pay for the airfare. He had like frequent flyer miles.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, as my first national was 91. And then, I mean, Atlanta, Cleveland, Houston, Chicago, Atlantic City, Baltimore, like got to go to all of them. Well, we'd always go, and Ernie was there, and he would take me in the back and introduce me to other
crazy
influential people and players. And the best advertisement is word of mouth, man. If you hear somebody good from somebody, and that's
how many years have you like technically been in the business then?
31 years.
It's a long time.
How old are you, Sash?
I'm 23. I'm 23.
Yeah, 31
years. You've been in the business longer than I've been alive.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Do you feel like that? Like, do you feel like you've been in the business a long time, or does it feel like I kind of just started a couple years ago?
No, I mean, I don't stop. Okay, like I'm always on the go. Yep. And something that people don't realize is that unless you have, like, when you're self-employed, every day you wake up, you're unemployed. Unless you have things in the works, you got stuff going, and you have to plan for the future. You have to get things set up. So it's not like that every day. You know, you want to have something going for tomorrow, and then tomorrow you want to have something going for the next day. You always want to be 1 or 2 steps ahead. And it's crazy to me because I see like guys like yourself and some of these other guys who are out there. And sometimes I feel like, wow, man, if we had this opportunity when I was that age, you know, I sound like my dad now, you know, like, you know, when I was that age, we didn't have that opportunity, but if we did, like, it would have been crazy. So like what you're doing, like you're taking full advantage of all the different platforms and introducing the hobby to people who haven't been around. And I think that's a big part. And I think anything somebody sees online, and like on my Instagram, I don't post a ton of stuff, but I'm stories all day.
Marc's a story guy, bro.
I'm a storyteller, right?
Yeah.
Like, but no, you need to do that. But everything I post is positive. I try to help people. I want to promote shows for people. I want to you know, keep the fire underneath the hobby, so you know it lasts.
So when did like you kind of like go into it full time? Because like, I mean, you started at 14, you're kind of in high school, you know, you have like the whole high school scene and all that. Like, was there a point where you're like, oh, am I going to go to college, or what am I going to get a job? Or was it always in your head like, you know what, this is what I want to do?
This is what I wanted to do. I mean, and I've been blessed, man, to have been able to turn a hobby into a career.
Yeah.
I had a great support team. You know, when I was a minor, like my parents would drive me from show to show before I drove.
Yeah.
Now my wife, I mean, I'm gone all the time, and that's something I want to talk about too. Is you got to have that balance. You got to be able to balance, you know, work and family, because that's very important.
It's tough too, right?
Primarily because most of our big events are on the weekends.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I tried not to miss, you know, baseball games or theater performances for my daughter, and like basketball games my son played. Like, you try to make that balance. So as much as I'm gone, we do have a lot of trips scheduled, you know, all the time. We do travel, and it's important to make that time.
100%. So like, could you like take us back to basically like what shows and like what was the scene like maybe like in the 90s and maybe early 2000s for cards and card shows and card shops versus like what it is now?
Everybody had the same thing. There was only Topps, Donruss, Fleer. Upper Deck came out in '89. There were no parallels. There were no
no numbered cards.
Like an insert was like, it was part of the regular set, but like the Diamond Kings. But everybody had the same thing. And we waited. Like right now, we're so lucky because we can literally go to our phone to see like what the last one sold for. And it could be up to the minute.
Yeah.
I had to wait for a Beckett magazine to get delivered to my house every month. And my mom couldn't get me to read like school, anything like that, but she knew I'd read Beckett. And so they like subscribed for me, you know?
So basically like what Card Ladder and all is today, that's what Beckett was back then.
Up to the minute. People lived by that thing. And what they would do is they would put little up arrows and down arrows. and like you would look, oh, I have that card. Look, it's got an up arrow, and like it's crazy.
So then people would go out and buy that.
Would go out and look for those cards.
And then the stuff that had the down arrow, people were trying to sell.
Yeah, people were trying to sell.
That is crazy.
And what's cool, like what I love about this business, I mean, people compare it to the stock market, and which is it's a fair assessment, but it's performance based.
Yeah.
So when someone does good, their prices are going up. When they're not doing good, their prices are going down. But baseball literally changes daily during the season because they play so often. Basketball changes every couple of days, and then football, you have an entire week to sell stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. So ultimate pastime, like where did that come in? Where did was that always like the business? Like what kind of when did that start?
It's always been like the business. I always thought baseball is called America's pastime.
Yeah.
But I always thought that collecting, not just cards, but just collecting things in general was like, to me, the ultimate pastime.
So that's where the name came in.
That's where it originated from.
And so can you kind of because I know you have like a warehouse right now, you maybe used to have a shop, could you take me kind of through that business side? Did you start off, how long did you have your shop? Why?
That's a great question. So I've always had, I used to have an office that we worked out of.
Yeah.
For the sports marketing and stuff that we'd have, players come in and sign, and it was.
So it was
all doctors and lawyers, and then we'd be in there, I'd get knocks on the door. Hey, could you guys keep it down a little bit? You know what I mean? It was in a very professional building. And that's what we used to do. And now we have a warehouse where we just kind of store things. The good thing about our industry, compared to say a restaurant industry, okay, the prices of stuff may go down, but they're never going to be zero.
Yeah.
If you owned a restaurant and you bought too much steak that week, your inventory expired.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's worth zero. You have to throw it away. With collectibles, and I'm a pack rat, man. Seriously, I got too much stuff, but
people don't know you go to garage sales every weekend.
I've been doing that since the 90s.
It's crazy.
I love it. And now, I relive my childhood through that. And most of the stuff I get, I don't sell. Some stuff I sell, but like I said, man, when you're self-employed, every day you wake up, you're unemployed. And the way I tell people is make the best of it. If you're at a show and the show's not that great for buying, and you see a deal where it's oh, I'm only going to make $50 on or something like that. Hey, it's $50 more than you had. If you're walking down the street, you see $50 on the ground, you gotta stop and pick it up.
100%.
Of course you are, right?
So basically, you use your warehouse. Basically, when you go to garage sales, you take that stuff.
Oh, but I have memorabilia. I've got everything in there. Yeah.
I always say I need to go there, and then I never do.
Yeah, let's do it. There's a hidden taco spot over there.
Now and then. So basically, how important? Do you have how do you sell your stuff? Do you have a website? Do you just do in person? Do you have an eBay store? What do you do?
My tree has a lot of different branches on
Got
it.
you.
So obviously we do eBay.
Yeah.
Who's not doing eBay?
Yeah.
Everybody does eBay. And once you establish your eBay account, I mean, it's like the gift that keeps on giving, because it just sells and sells and sells. And what's good about eBay is, well, I'll get back to this later.
Tell me.
I'll switch places. eBay. Okay. eBay, all PWCC, Golden, all those platforms.
Yeah.
This is what I've realized in the last couple of weeks, and you tell me if I'm wrong. It's getting a little harder to buy at shows.
100%.
Okay, people, their prices are up, and that's great. And the reason I say that's great is because it's keeping the hobby strong. Okay, and once I think eBay and those other sites are going to be the big pond that everybody's going to be fishing from.
Yeah.
Okay, because once they get their card or their item and they invested their hard-earned money and they were lucky enough to win the auction or something like that, hey, it's their card. They can do what they want with it. And I think eBay is going to be the place where people can find whatever they need, and comps are going to become irrelevant on stuff like that one day, just because if nobody paid higher than the comps, the market's going to go like this.
Yeah.
I've bought stuff on eBay. I buy a ton of stuff on eBay. I've actually put it back into my eBay store, and in 2 weeks, it's still on the board for what it sold for, what I paid for, and I got 30%, 40% more for it.
Yeah.
There's a ton of opportunities. And another thing too, if you do it the right way as a quote unquote business, you can put your resale license on
100%.
eBay, and you don't pay tax on
100%.
the buys, on the purchases.
100%.
So
I think a lot of people where you do set up at shows and stuff like that, they necessarily maybe aren't set up as a business, and that's the tough part where when you come in and I come in and I'm trying to do business with them, that's where it gets tough, because they're just I I only want like cash, or I only, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm like, bro, like you can't, like, you know what I mean? That's tough. Like,
tough.
you know what I mean? So
you have to have records as a business.
100%. So like, that's where like I can just go online, go on eBay, go on whatnot, go on PWCC, and I can go do my buying. I can send the wire, you know what I mean? Like it, and that's where it gets kind of simpler if you're running it as a business as well.
I'm going to tell you what you've been telling me about whatnot, and Eric told me this weekend, and they've been trying to get, like, I really got to get on there. Well, it's an amazing platform, and seeing it live the way that it was, I mean,
it's fun.
It was awesome.
I think the dope thing about it is it's almost like how I view it is like, it's like Twitch, it's like QVC, like, and like eBay, almost like all like combined into one.
It's awesome.
And you really and honestly, like, you don't, it's not just cards, so like you might need to take some of that garage sale stuff and put it up on whatnot.
It could happen, but no, I mean, based on what you've told me, the thing that I think is most valuable about that is, one, like, the buyer pays right away, right?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. You don't have to wait 4, 5, 8 days after you just waited 7 days for an auction to end.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to get paid right away, and they send you the label.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. So you don't have to pay for shipping and all that sort of stuff too. And it's like, it's a fun way to interact with your customer base, and also like it's a fun way to buy as well.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I think we're like kind of in this like era of like, you know, everybody does use eBay, but people are like, well, what's the alternative, right? So I think that's like the interesting point where like it's you know, it's fun, you know,
and it's fast paced.
And it's fast paced, and you have,
I like that.
It's cool. It's cool. You might have, I'm telling you, you might have to get on it and try it, bro.
Yeah.
So when you go to a show, right? Like, what's your game plan? Like, what is stuff you look for? Like, are you the guy that goes and tries to look for the best card that's in the show and try to get that? Or
I look for stuff that other people normally aren't looking for, because I don't want to compete with everybody.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay $300 for a guy who hasn't, you know, touched the field yet, or, you know, taken a shot in the NBA, when you can get Hall of Famers for that price, you know?
Yeah.
That's the stuff I like. I like to call it safe buys. I think they're very safe. And that's the stuff that I like.
So are you buying like when you buy, do you try to buy as like lot deals? Like, how do you
try? Yeah. Always try. Right. So, but people realize like some of that stuff's really drying up. I mean, some of the greatest players to ever play the sports are still alive right now. You got like Willie Mays, you got Bill Russell. I mean, those are like absolute legends, and their autographs. Well, Russell's starting to go up, but you can buy Jabbar autographs for like, I don't know, $150.
Yeah.
You know, you could buy Montana autographs for like $150 when Tom Brady is like $3,000 for the cheapest auto. You know, I just think there's so much potential for that type of stuff. And like I said, the risk in it isn't it? I mean, Joe Montana is not going to, you know, pull a hammy anytime soon. Or
if somebody's starting in this business, like, I mean, you've been in the game like a long time. So I'm sure you've seen, you know, people come and go.
Absolutely.
What are some like key, I guess, you know, recommendations or things like advice you could give of like, if you want to be in this business in the long term, like what should you do?
I mean, when you start collecting, you have to look at it as two ways. Are you going to be a collector, or are you doing it as an investment to sell in the future? Because if you're doing it to collect, you know what I always say? I say, buy what you like. Okay?
People don't know he has that
it is trademark.
You have it trademarked, right? That's yours,
yes,
right?
Yes. Funny story. Darren Ravel, from Action Network, used to be ESPN, big social media guy.
Yeah.
People either love him or they hate him.
Yeah.
But he hit me up. He's like, dude, here's my trademark attorney. You need to get that trademark. Because I mean, I've been saying it for years. My buddy Isaac used to open wax, and I mean, he'd get crushed. And he's like, oh, dude, I didn't hit anything, you know? And I'm like, dude, you should have just bought the card, you know? And that's kind of how it turned into like the whole buy what you like kind of thing. And it's true, because if you like it, no matter what the internet tells you it's worth, you're always going to like it. I have stuff in like my personal, you know, little cabinet in my office at home that it's not worth a ton, but I like it. And it just, you know, brings back good memories. I think that's what collecting's about. Like reliving your childhood, bringing back good memories. Some of this stuff, the market got way too high, way too fast. I feel that, you know, unfortunately the death of Kobe had a lot to do with that, but stuff was getting pumped up, like a Topps Kobe PSA 10.
Yeah, those were crazy.
They got up to like 10K, right?
I remember that.
They got up to like 10K, and I can remember
we went to there's a local shop called MVP Sports Cards, and like I brought him one time, and we bought a Kobe paper 10 for like $150.
But that card, so check this out. That card was like $10 or $15 raw forever, and it was like an $80 to $100 card for 10 years straight. You could have bought a
I remember.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is it got up to 10K, and now it's like what 50? I think it's like 1,500,
1,500, something like that. I think I don't even follow it. Like that card doesn't interest me because I know what it used to be, and I'm not interested in that.
So the stuff that interests you more is kind of like the autos of legendary players.
I love that stuff.
And you'll just buy that all day.
I love that stuff, man. It's so
so do you just buy it and you kind of put it away, or you put it on your eBay maybe?
Yeah. So you asked like how we do things. So like I said, so we'll do that. Then I'll flip a lot of stuff. I'll sell people who do repacks. We've done our own repacks before. We've got our Facebook group, which I really never talk about.
Yeah.
Reason I don't talk about it is like honestly, man, like we don't know all of our followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
And our Facebook group started so long ago that it's like a tight-knit little family.
Yep.
And if there's an issue, we can address it. We're never going to have a problem.
Yeah.
And that's how I want to keep it, So I buy stuff for that. It's pretty Dodger heavy. So a lot of Dodger stuff. Yeah.
So how could you give advice to how you build your kind of network? Because like I know like when I started, it was more of like, all right, I have this much money. I'm going to buy this stuff, and then I'm just going to flip it. And then once it's all out the door, I'm going to buy more stuff, and then I'm going to flip it. But I never knew who the end consumer was.
So I think to start, like if you're starting off, if you go to a show and you don't spend a dime, but you walk away knowing more or learning something that you didn't know, that's more than making money that day, because that knowledge of what you just learned, you're going to use the next show and the next show, which is going to make you money. Also, I talked about this. You and I did a panel at the Pachanga, and I talked about how important relationships are and just building relationships and just keep talking to people, because whether you bought something that day or not, the next show he might come up and be like, "Hey, Marc," or "Hey, Sasha, remember that card you asked? I got one."
Yeah.
So just get out there and talk to people and meet people. And be honest, man. I was raised to treat people how you want to be treated.
100%.
And Rick Monday, an old Dodger, once told me, he said, "Marc, somebody can break into your house and they can steal everything in your house, take your cars, everything, your wife's jewelry, everything." He said, "But one thing they can't take from you is your reputation." 100%. And I live by that, man, because that's true. Your reputation's everything. We're seeing people in the last even 6 months who, you're starting to see different sides of people.
And I think that's what happens a lot. Like when people start to lose money, right? When everybody's winning, everybody's like making money, everybody's all cool, right? Then once our people, start to lose money, people will start pointing the fingers and all that sort of stuff. And I think
I just stay away from all the hate. There's so many negative people,
and
negative posts and negative content that people say this about somebody or that. And you know what? And
you just do your business and you go about it like that.
I do what I got to do.
So do you feel like shows is like the best kind of way to go in network, or are there any other like ways to go and make connections? Like what do you think?
I think face to face is always going to be the best.
Got you.
And I love it when people come up and say, "Oh, I follow you, on Instagram," or like, "You get it too.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you. My name is so and so." Well, first of all, I might have met you, but you might have had a mask on in the last.
That's true.
Like I feel like I'm like re-meeting everybody
100%.
like in the last few months. It's cool because like I met them for the first time and I'm so and so on Instagram.
Well, now you actually know what they look.
Now I'm meeting them again. Like and now I get to know what they actually look like. It's cool.
It's funny when you see people with like a mask and then you see them actually how they look in person. You're like, I thought you were going to look completely different than how you look right now.
I totally get that.
It's funny. How many nationals have you been to again?
I've missed, I think 4 of them since 91.
That's so you've been to like what, like
20, over 25.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How was the last national compared to like the ones before?
I mean, it's all relative to the market, and the market was so hot.
But do you think is that how national usually looks? Like what?
It is how it looks, but it's sad because I noticed like this last one, which is going to be different this year because vintage is a play now. People are starting to buy vintage. This last national we just had, was it Chicago?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think where it was. People selling vintage. There was no one in front of their tables, but people had Prism 10s. You couldn't even get up to their booth.
Yeah.
Now I think you're going to start seeing I've already noticed it in the last year.
I bought a 52 Mansell.
I know.
It was crazy.
Awesome.
That was like my first big vintage card.
But I think there's so much potential.
Well, it's safe too.
It is safe.
It's safe.
And that's one of those safe buys. But it's going to take the right buyer to buy that stuff as well.
So
not everybody is carrying around 100K or whatever.
I agree, but like I've had like every time I've bought a vintage card, like I've done well. And I think the coolest part about like vintage is like the buyer pool is like completely different than like anything else.
It's an older crowd.
It's an older crowd, and like they know the price.
What I like about vintage too, every card tells a story, man.
I agree.
If it's a 1 and it has a crease, man, that thing could have been in somebody's bicycle spoke, or like it might have been. Looks real nice, but it has a little pinhole because that guy had that thing on his bulletin board on his wall. He put a thumbtack through it. So like the saying that people talk about, like buy the card, not the grade.
Yeah.
That's what I love about vintage, because you can get a real nice vintage card with nice eye appeal at a very reasonable price.
And with that, you also have to like learn that market too, right? Sure. Like when I was going into that world, it was like you said, well, there's a crease, so that brings down the value X%.
So a 4 is not a 4. A 5,
exactly.
5 may be better.
Like for Prism and optic and all that stuff, a 10's a 10.
9,
But for vintage, it's like, all right, well, you got to look at the centering, and then you got to look at the color, and then you got to look at the back if there's some like weird stuff on the back of the card. And
no, I love that stuff. But I mean, something else I love about going to shows, it's just always been in me. It's like the thrill of the hunt. Like I'll sit down and go through people's dollar boxes, and I'll look at that stuff, and I love it, because to be in the collecting industry today, you don't have to have a ton of money. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can buy really nice cards. Like there's some 90s inserts that look awesome. You can get for between like $1 and $5.
Yeah.
If you're a collector, like it looks really cool. Yeah. You know, and like
I think that's like one big misconception right now too, is like you have to have a lot of money to get into the industry. And it's like, no, like you don't. Like for example, like when we were in Vegas, there's that guy that came into the room that had the little, like at the end, he had this like little like I don't know, it's probably like a 10 or 20 card slab lot, and I was like, I'll give you $5 a slab, and that's what 10 slabs. That's $50. I mean, I can get, you could probably get $10-15 a slab out of that if you really wanted to.
But once again, you're not going to get rich on that, but you do 10 deals like
no, you do exactly, and you can flip real quick. So I think like
it's sellable stuff.
There's also like maybe it wasn't as easy as it was 2 years ago when you can go buy raw cards.
Well, it's not, because now people, even though they're getting their bulk stuff back, they paid $12, $13, $14 a card.
Oh yeah, those guys are at them. Yeah,
I mean,
they're taking an L on their stuff.
But here's the thing: we talked about taking L's earlier. Like, take the loss on some of the stuff I mean, if you follow the market and the thing's trending down every single week, take the L on it. It's not going to change anytime soon. Yeah. If it does, it's going to take a long time to get back to the top. Take that L, put that money into today's current market, and make that 20, 30, 40% on it. Yeah,
I think people don't realize, like, if you take your 20, 30% L now, and then you like you said, you take that money and you put it back into the market, and you make smart decisions, you can come back and get to where you're at.
Instead of just giving up, be like, oh man, this sucks, and just throw it in the closet. It's not getting any better.
Exactly. And I also think, though, another thing is like learning different markets, right? All right, cool. We're good.
That's all it takes, dude.
That's all it takes. There's a clap.
You got the clapper in here? I'll try to light it and turn it off. You don't even know what the clapper is. That's from the 80s.
I don't know what the clapper is. I just clapped.
Google it.
I'll Google it after we're done.
Clapper.
Hopefully it's not anything bad.
No, it's not. Well, yeah, no, it's not. The clapper. Okay. So the good thing about I like to know a little bit about everything, man. I don't want to know a ton about one thing. I want to know a little bit about everything. And we actually did a repack product like in 2015. Like it was before people were even
repacking.
Yeah. And it was called LBOE. LBOE. So for a little bit of everything.
Got you.
Yeah.
So like, but isn't it weird though how, I've seen it like over the last 6 months, people are maybe hardcore baseball guys or hardcore basketball guys or hardcore football guys. And they learn different markets, and now they're actually like in that market maybe more than they were at the original thing.
Because
I think that's the
there's
best.
so many opportunities. This
100%.
it's all about opportunities.
100%.
And you have to take that opportunity when it's presented to you.
And that's the thing, like
run with it.
And that's the beauty of like a lot, like of course like modern basketball came down and all these things, and I'm like, even for me, like I use that as an opportunity. I'm like, all right, like what is the other things I can learn?
Sure.
Like I got into UFC, I got into F1,
I
and
can't
those have been.
We talked about this earlier, how hot UFC was this weekend.
Exactly.
I mean, in Vegas, you expect it, but I mean, I've never seen anything like that. The F1, they had the race on. I've never.
People were glued on the TV.
Dude, they were like, they stopped doing deals to look up to see like who was winning this race.
And I'll tell you right now, like I remember at National when if you said F1, you would be ridiculed. You know what I mean? So like, I do think like one of the biggest like factors in like getting into stuff early is like you're going to get like if you're in this industry and you get into like some weird sport or area early, you're gonna get some hate on that just because people don't know it. If people don't know something, they're gonna
learn it because
they're gonna learn it, but they're also not gonna like it in the beginning.
But people are gonna see what other people are doing
eventually, and then it picks up.
They're gonna have to learn that market. They're gonna have to, or they're gonna get lost.
I would rather be early and like people like don't like it than like being late and being one of the guys.
But
that
it's
are
okay to be late, because if you're late to the
100%.
party, if you're late, you can kind of study the trends of something already. When you're
100%.
new,
when you're new,
everybody's in the same boat. So if you wait a little bit, you can kind of speculate on maybe this guy or that guy.
I agree, but it is easier in terms of
absolutely, because you're gonna have everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'd so much rather be early on anything, like whether that's in business, in life, or whatever, and take like the hits early than I would be of like looking, oh man, I wish I
could have, should have.
The wish I is the worst for me. I hate that.
Yeah. Well, don't look back on anything that you've ever sold. Like,
that's true too.
Everything is replaceable at some point.
Well, and that's the thing.
It's going to cost you more money, but I mean, if you did well with it at the time, like don't look back.
And I think that's the main thing of like actually, having this like as a business, like you have inventory that you need to move. Once you move it, but you're buying more inventory and it flows in and out.
But like I said, the inventory, it doesn't expire, man. You're always going to have something. And maybe with a little less, you're always going to have something though.
Exactly. But like that's the cool thing. If it's like, it's not like, damn, if I sell this card, I don't think about it anymore. If I sell this card, I'm never going to get it back. I'm like, oh, I sold this card, so now I can go buy, something else, right? Yeah. So like, it's interesting, like the viewpoint of like, running cards as like a business versus like being a collector. Like it's interesting.
I think at some point, every collector is in it for the investment side of it too. At some point.
I agree.
At some point, not everybody.
I think there's a lot of collectors that say they aren't, but they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, like I'm a collector. I'll never sell this card. And I'm like, and then they, they'll hit the DMs. Hey, bro, are you looking for this card? I'm like, I thought you said you're never gonna sell that thing.
Tom Brady Bowman Chromes, man.
Yep.
I mean, those things were so cheap for so long, and 10s went crazy.
Yep.
And now people are like, well, I've had it this long, maybe I'll sell it now.
Yep.
Well, I thought you were a collector. Yeah, but look what I can get for them.
Yeah. I mean, I
absolutely, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, because a lot of times, I think people misunderstand like collecting and like running this as like a dealer, quote unquote, is actually like fairly like it's more like similar than it is different, because like I see a lot of collectors, well, I have this MJ insert, let's say hypothetically, but I want to get this bigger one, so I have to sell this one, and then I'm going to move this to get that.
Right. Now,
so then from a dealer perspective, it's like,
sure.
Well, I have same thing. We can do the same thing. I have this MJ insert. I have this collector that wants it. All right, I'm going to get it to him, but I'm going to take these 3-4 cards in trade that will bring me more value. Then I'm going to get my cash out from that, and then move on to the next thing. It's not as different like as you'd think it would be. Like it's.
But what gets me when you talk about people trading up is when you got like a $20K card and they want to give you like 25. $800 to $1,000 cards. Like, dude, you realize you got to do 25 times the amount of work now to get the return. So
if you're trading up, you have to give up more value.
Advantage to you.
Yeah. And I think there's it's cool for both. And I think for a lot of times, like with collectors, if they can get that one card, right, maybe it is a $20K card, and they have to give up, $24K in trade, then like cool, because you just don't have to take the time to cash out
Less
of
work.
all those
Yeah,
cards.
exactly.
And a lot of times you're not going to get that full value that you
No.
think the card is worth.
No.
You're going to have to move that stuff at 80%,
Absolutely.
85%
Yeah.
just to be able to even move it.
And-
Especially if you're selling on eBay, then you got your fees and all that sort of
And
stuff.
some of that stuff, to get 80% today, you may be paying 90% tomorrow
Yeah.
because of the dip on some of that stuff. So you got to be careful on what you take in too.
How do you like, you've been in this game for so long. How do you protect yourself from, those, what the market does, right? We saw, I don't know, was it last March, April, the market started coming down a little bit. Like, as a business, how do you avoid of like, well, the market's going down, so my business is taking a hit versus like your business is good no matter what?
From that standpoint, I'm literally out there every day, and I try to turn over stuff pretty quick. So I may have, made money on some stuff. I may have lost on some stuff, but at the end of the day, it's still a positive.
Yeah.
It's always up.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think a lot of
people just, if you sit on it and sit, especially on modern, it's tough unless it's like a key card.
Do you have you seen cycles like this before the last couple of years, like in terms of the market?
Not so much the last couple of years. I can tell you from like 2008, I mean, the market was dead.
Yeah, 2008 was when we had the crash, right?
So happy for some of these shops, the guys that I've known for the 30 years I've been doing it, that are finally getting like their redemption. Like they deserve this, because some of these guys, I mean, we're going through this market when there was nothing.
In 2008, was there a lot of 2008, 2009, was there a lot of card shops and businesses that ended up folding?
Yes. I mean, but there weren't that many to begin with. In the 90s?
Yeah, there's a bunch, right?
I mean, dude, baseball card shops were like Starbucks are today. Literally, they were on like every corner. Like wherever you go, you'd find a baseball card shop.
Yeah.
And they kind of like dwindled away. But the ones who survived, like who got through 2008 or 05, 06, I can remember 2005 football products coming out, and like, I don't know, as example, maybe like Finest, or, it was so cheap, and Topps Chrome. And then it was so cheap, and people are chasing like Ronnie Brown and Cadillac Williams. Alex Smith was good, but then there's another rookie in that set. You know who it was? Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
and he popped. Like nobody was buying the product. The product was absolute crap.
Yeah.
And nobody bought it. And then so people who were lucky enough to get that stuff because they had to buy it because they had a store.
Yeah.
And they put it away. Like
they did well.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing of being able to like hold inventory back of like, especially wax, like, you hold, especially wax now. It seems like almost every wax.
Expensive.
It's expensive, but like for example, like F1, I told you about this stuff all. F1 wax is absolutely insane. Like if you bought it at the release, you'd be murdering it right now. So like it also seems like wax is more of like kind of that safer, better, maybe it won't go insanely crazy, but like you always have some sort of positive just because people want to rip product. As much as for me, like I don't want to rip, like I don't like ripping, like it's a pure gamble.
Yeah.
But you can't avoid that there are people that want to rip every single day.
We talk about it. The PSA pop reports are like progressive slot machines.
Yeah.
The pop's going up, 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 up. Since I started this sentence, 10 seconds ago, more wax has been ripped. That's one less box out there.
Yeah.
So people are always going to have that desire to rip wax. I have no interest in opening wax. I've seen the results for so long. I'd rather just buy the cards.
When you see Drake, right? Like when Drake's ripping all this flawless wax, he wants that triple logo, man. And
he could have just bought it already.
Yeah, if it came out, right? Like
if he didn't do this, and he could have bought it. But it's fun, and he brings people into the hobby.
He's brought so many people.
Look at what 86 Fleer is doing. 86 Fleer is going through the roof now. People like that, and you're going to see a big spike on that stuff because of Drake and how tough. I think people are going to realize they got to see that stuff open. The stuff was valued at like $5,000 a pack, I think, when they were opening it, and they're going through it, and so many cards were off-centered, left, right, top, bottom, and like people are going to start to appreciate how cheap PSA 9s are now. Like you can buy I bought a PSA 9 Clyde Drexler in Vegas for like $200, rookie.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think it's a good play. I do.
I guess my hope would be that, like, especially for a guy with influence like Drake, is like he gets into the singles game.
Yeah.
Of like, because then, the people that he's brought in, that are ripping kind of flow into the singles game too, because you'll learn that like, hey, yeah, ripping is fun and amazing and cool, but it might not be as ROI positive as you thought it would be.
I'm going to tell you something. I love the people that rip. I love the people that break, because if nobody opened anything, you and I wouldn't have singles to buy.
100%.
Right? Like we wouldn't have anything to buy.
I agree. Stuff has to be ripped. We need
that. So yeah, I mean, I'm not into it.
Yeah.
Nor do I plan on opening stuff. Like last year at the National, they were doing case breaks, and they asked me to. I said, I'm not even interested in like helping you open them. Like it's not fun to me. I don't care.
I agree, and I don't want. For me, like I don't want to come off as like I don't want to rip. It's just like I run like this is a business. So like if I rip, it's
your
not
ROI is
exactly. But I will say like there's a lot of these breakers that do such a good job of creating like a fun entertainment environment.
That's what it is. It's pure entertainment.
Yeah.
Like you could literally get on any time and watch a break.
Yeah.
So even if you're not participating, you can see the cool stuff that these companies are doing. They're doing some really cool stuff right now.
Yeah.
They're putting some nice stuff in there. I think the flawless being like game used, I think that's a huge play in the upcoming years. People are going to realize, like on some of these older Hall of Famer guys, there's only so much game used jerseys and stuff that bats that they can put into these products. And when it's game used and not event worn, I think that's a hell of a play, man, because think about it. I've done signings with these guys where Panini will send a stack of jerseys like this and they put them on, take them off, put them on, take them off. Well, now they're event worn. Like you want game used or game worn. And there's only so much of that stuff out there. So I think you're going to see a push on that stuff soon.
I guess you got to join a break though then soon.
I'm not getting in a break. I have no desire.
I asked this question. I was talking about this with Kenny though. Do you think it would be like more like you brought it up? It would be more ROI positive for Drake to like just buy the triple logo man, but
like him somebody has that much money. I don't think it's gonna.
I don't think it matters.
It matters to him. I think he's having fun, and at his expense, everybody in the hobby is benefiting from it right now because people are excited. They want to see him open stuff. They want to see that stuff get opened.
Yeah,
and it's keeping that that flame under the fire.
It's crazy. We were having lunch earlier in when they pulled like 3 Jordans, in my head I was like, oh damn, that's like a really good box. But then you guys
in my head I was like, if that box didn't have 3 Jordans, the thing was tampered with.
Yeah.
Because like back then you got like 3 of every card and a few extra ones, like 30 extra cards or something like that. So some boxes had 4 Jordans, like it might have been some of the part of the extra cards, but yeah, I mean, 3 complete sets for the most part. Yeah.
So basically every box of 86 Fleer has 3.
Every box should have 3 Jordans, 3 stickers, 3 Jordan stickers. Every pack has a sticker in it.
Damn, it's crazy.
36 stickers.
Didn't Kelvin say it? Because Kelvin brought a sticker 10.
Mm-hmm.
He said
that's a tough card.
That's a big card.
That's a tough card. It's on the back of the pack. They all have wax on them. It's a very bottom card.
Got you. So that's why they don't grade well.
Open it up. Yeah, it's like the wax is stuck to it.
I didn't know that. See, those are the things. These are the things you learn, I guess, right? Over the 30. Did you think that you'd be in this game for like this long, or did you think you'd be doing other things? Like,
oh man, I knew that probably after about 10 years in, I knew that this is what I wanted to do. Like when I was 24, 25, that's when we started doing like the autograph signings and representing these guys and traveling with them. And that's when I realized, this is what I wanted to do. And now I think it's so cool because I can, for what it's worth. I mean, I never go on and try to sell anything. I don't do that. But if I can give somebody advice that I think is going to help them in the future, I'm always here, man, to help people.
That's crazy. So like, what are the next 20 years looking like for you, basically? Like, do you have any more?
Man,
like,
do you have any? I wake up tomorrow,
Sasha. do you have any desires like to like do something else not something else in the industry, but like, do you want to like?
Not necessarily. I am so comfortable, and people say never get too comfortable.
Yeah.
And I'm not too comfortable, but I'm very comfortable. with the balance of my family and work. I don't live a lavish lifestyle. I mean, I wear the same uniform every day.
Yeah, people don't know that. Every day he wears the same
it's
uniform.
Not the same black polo and that. So my wife, when she orders me new shirts, she'll click the size and everything like that. The only thing that's changed about my uniform over the last 12 years, I started this in 2009. Or
the uniform you started in 2009.
The only thing that's changed about that is the size. We had to buy it because it's gotten bigger, but that's it though, honestly. And the way it started is because my wife's a school teacher, and thank God for her benefits, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why she's still working for the most part. And it's like I'd get the kids up for school. My kids were like 6 and 4 at the time. Get them up for school, take them to school. I'd go to my warehouse, do some work, pick the kids up, and then my wife would come home, and then I'd start going to the shows. Like I'd leave to go to the shows.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just nonstop. And I'm like, man, I getting home at like 12 or 1 in the morning, wherever it was. Man, I got to figure out what to do in the morning. I got to get the kids. So I was like, you know what? This works for pretty much everything. Like it's you know, it's got
so
a collar.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm just gonna start wearing it. So I started wearing it, and then it just became like, dude, that's all I'm gonna wear. It's cool.
So that's how the uniform
came about. The uniform originated. One less thing to think about in the morning.
That's actually smart, because like a lot of people will wake up, they're like, I don't know what I'm gonna wear today.
Dude, I never worry about that.
No, you never. Honestly, I might need a couple of those polos, bro, and shorts.
I'll have my wife send you the link.
What did you think about the Mint Collective show this past weekend?
I thought the Mint Collective show did a hell of a job, man. And I think, like we talked about before, about sometimes shows may not be the best buying show, but if you can leave there with something, like I've been in this thing over 30 years, and I went to some of the panels, you know, and you know, I walked away with stuff that, you know, like that can help me to help other people.
There really hasn't been. Like, have you seen anything like the Mint where it's like more like?
Yeah, they have like the industry summit and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went there.
Where it's like that. But I mean, I just see so much potential for the Mint and what they did. I mean, they really did a hell of a job. And they brought in, it had dealers, and it had corporate, and it had speakers, and I think it was cool.
And you stopped by the booth when we were doing the live sale.
And that, you know what? I went by later. You were gone. This is on Sunday. Steve Grad from Beckett Authentication was there. I introduced him, and he was blown away. And he goes, man, I might have to start using this platform.
It's cool, right? If you guys don't know, we did a live sale at the Vegas show, at the Whatnot booth. So it was a high-end live sale. So people were like coming up to me while I was doing the sales. I was like, yo, what up? But I also like had to focus on the live sale at the same time.
It's crazy.
It was funny.
The camera was
the camera was right there, and you know, it was a super fun environment to do it in, though.
Like it was like a live.
It was literally live, and then like people were kind of coming by the booth, and they're like, "What is this?"
But I think it showed everybody,
exactly,
how cool the platform is. Which Whatnot is amazing.
Yeah,
and you still need. I'm going to get on there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it showed how easy it is, and how fast you can make a decent amount of sales.
Yeah, like if you like, the cool thing is like if you buy like a lot deal, like you can literally go take your lot. You know, you have to get approved to go on Whatnot, but once you get approved, you know, you can go and you can sell.
Yeah, I think that's
right.
Awesome.
So like it gives people liquidity, and also on the other side as a buyer, there's deals on there all day. I mean, there's stuff that definitely goes.
It's like cable TV with collectibles.
It's crazy.
You just flip the channel. Okay, I'm done watching this guy. I'm going to go to this guy or that guy or that guy. And it's freaking amazing.
And I think that brings up to the point is like there's not just one way to sell stuff anymore. Like you can go, like that's the beauty of like the internet and all this stuff is like you can build your personal brand.
Yeah.
And you can do it that way, right? And you can try to go as direct to consumer as possible. You can go, bro, I old school Craigslist, you know, like I don't think they have Let Go anymore, but there's like something.
No, it's like Facebook Marketplace. Offer up.
You could go that way too. Like you could just go eBay. Like you could go Whatnot. You could go. There's just so many opportunities.
I think you said something just now that I don't even think you realize you said. It was self-promotion. And I think that is so important for everybody who is setting up at shows or sells online, because if you're setting up at a show, whether it be a big show or a small show, everybody has social media now.
Yeah.
Post where you're going to be.
Yeah.
It's only going to make that show bigger and better, which everybody's going to benefit from. If you're selling online, include a little something in your package so that they remember you by that and they have a way to find you. And I think self-promotion is so key, and not enough people do it.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that, like one of the benefits of being able, making sure like you're promoting whether that's your brand in this business or any other business, is like, like people are gonna know who you are, and that's like that's a good thing.
I don't even set up at shows and I let people know where I'm gonna be. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
But that helps me too, because people are like, oh, Marc's gonna be there. I'm gonna bring him what I know he likes to buy.
Yep. And a lot of times, like you don't even have to set up at a show, where it's just like you say like whatever on social media, hey, I'll be here, or whatever it is. And if you built up, a good customer base, like people will come sell to you. Just
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just because they've dealt with you before, they know like how it is, and it's cool.
There's so many opportunities out there for buying and selling that I think the markets. I did a thing for Rob over at Burbank.
Yep.
And I mean, hands down, if you haven't been to Burbank Sports Cards, you need to go to Burbank Sports Cards. It's one of the, if not the best around. And he asked, like, so what do you think of the hobby? Like, where do you think it's going to be in the next couple of years? I said, the hobby's not going anywhere. The hobby's been here forever.
Yeah.
The prices might change, but the hobby's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's true. You've known Rob for a long time too, right?
Yeah, since I started.
That's crazy.
So I live in Rancho Cucamonga, and anytime we'd go see family out towards LA or everything like that, I'd always go by Burbank when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And that's how long I've known Rob.
So, like how old?
And I've known Ryan since he was probably the age I was when I was going to Rob shop.
That's crazy.
I'm so proud of that kid, man. He is really good.
He's really, really good. He when he came on the pod, he was basically like, he was saying like he didn't even like when he was a kid, like he worked the summers and stuff at the shop, but it wasn't like he like,
dude, I remember
liked it.
I remember the Nationals.
Yeah.
And Rob would be buying tables out. He's like buying everything, right?
Yeah.
And stacking pallets, and Ryan was just moving like 5,000 count boxes.
That's crazy.
He looked miserable.
That's crazy.
So that's what I said. I'm so happy to see it. I'm proud of where he's at now.
Yeah, and there's also like a lot of new shops that are kind of opening up around here.
Shops are opening up.
LA
everywhere.
Sports Cards. We know Elvis from over there.
Yeah.
There's a couple other ones.
The Bullpen, which has more wax than
they have
anybody
an insane
around.
amount of wax.
I mean, anybody around.
They have an insane. You've known them for a long time too.
Mitch and Ty for a long time, about as long as I've known Rob.
I remember going to their trade nights when I first got into it. I would go to their trade nights. Yeah. And that was like so much fun, because that was like when I met like Coleman was there. That's where I met Coleman.
Okay.
A couple other people, but I would say like that event was like the most fun I had in like cards, because you could take like $100-$200 and some cards and just like do 10 trades. You know what I mean? Like
$200 is probably what I took to my first national.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
The beauty of that time in Bullpen was like Luca base 10s were like $50. Like, so it was crazy. Like it was that time before, like right before it, like
in 2018.
Yeah. And I remember actually Rizzo was there like one time, like for the first time. I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
And I just saw him, and he was just spending so much money on cards, and I was like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
It is crazy.
And that's another shop that they have 2 shops now, Rizzo Sports.
Rizzo, check out Rizzo's for sure. I mean
Southern California,
some awesome singles.
Yeah, they have bangers.
Follow them on Whatnot. Also, man, Mikey is doing a hell of a job. He's crushing it on.
But isn't it crazy how many like Southern California is like the hub? Like it's like
it is, and I think sometimes people take it for granted.
Yeah,
like how many options we have. I mean, every week, we have Frankenson and Diamond 9, and then you got the premiere show. You have all these other shows. I mean, and there's still like pop-ups like everywhere. We can go somewhere every night if we wanted to.
Yeah, Wednesdays there's basically 3 events. You have Frankenson, you have Diamond 9, and you have the
Burbank show. You got the Newport Showcase run by EJ. Like amazing. Like there's some big shows out here. Oh, Del Mar coming up.
Don't forget about premiere. Del Mar. Like it's crazy.
Wiley and Alex.
They have a big show coming up.
A big show in San Diego area.
San Diego, I think it's like 300 tables.
Yeah.
And that's the that is the crazy part too. And it's like cool that we live in this area where there's so much demand for what we do. It's fun. Like it's, I talk to people that like when I go to the Dallas show, like a lot of times like people come up to me and they're like, you're so lucky because like we don't even have like shows and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn, like I didn't really even
Now,
think
the
about
good
that.
and bad about that is there's so many shows. Sometimes we'll go to shows and some of the guys don't have enough time to rotate out their product.
Yeah.
So you're going to walk in there and everybody is going to have the Prism, Mosaic, Optic, Select, Donra, like all the stuff they walked into Target to buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the stuff that everyone's looking for, but that's stuff that everybody has.
Yeah, you'll see the same stuff
Yeah.
over and over and
Mhm.
over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yep.
And that's why I like going like out to different shows, is because like I get to see new stuff.
Yeah.
And then you can take that stuff, bring it back over
Mhm.
here, and to the consumer's eyes, it's
Yeah.
fresh inventory that they've never seen before.
Absolutely.
So that's also the beauty of traveling, right? And also like I bring this up a lot, but like with like places like Alt and like PWCC and Golden, like there's such good deals on there that like it's just like I can just buy it.
That's what I was saying, man.
Exactly.
Online marketplaces are going to be the pond that everybody's going to fish from.
Yeah.
And once, like I said, man, you were able to lock up that card, you put your money on the line, you can ask for it what you want. You don't have to, just because it comped for this or whatever, it's your card now.
Yeah.
Set a new comp.
And I think that comes with like learning like the market. There's like some cards, like of course, like if you're doing that with like a Luca base 10, it's probably not going to work out well just because like that card comps every single day. But like that's where it comes in, like the learning of like, there's certain cards like that where you get your like golds or your 101s or your patch autos, like all that sort of stuff where it comes into play where it's like, this card's getting tougher to get, so I can buy it, and or this has a really good patch and a beautiful auto, like whatever it is. Like if you start to learn those little things, you can really start making plays like with what you have.
And another thing too is when you travel, a lot of this market is regional. So there's a show coming up in San Francisco next weekend. You're going to that, right? That we'll be at. And what I like to do up there, they hate the Dodgers in San Francisco. Yeah. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to buy Dodger cards. I'm going to buy Dodger cards, bring them back here, stuff that I can sell. So just because they don't care about Dodger cards doesn't mean they're junk to everybody. They just don't have. And
up there, they have a bunch of Curry.
Yeah.
And then we don't have a lot of Curry down here.
Curry's kind of universal though, man. Like
that's true.
Curry, Luca. The good thing about basketball is it's an international market and it's like worldwide.
Yeah, 100%. But they do have some fire Curry stuff out there, though. I'll tell you that. I remember I bought like a Curry exquisite from a guy out there. Well, actually, you introduced me to him.
Oh, John Yon,
yeah, he was really cool. I bought a couple things from him.
He was there at the Mint this time.
He was there?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see him.
Okay, so it's funny you said that because I told you earlier that when I got back and I was kind of scrolling through my social and I saw, I'm like, man, he was there. I didn't even know he was there. The show wasn't even huge. It wasn't like a national by any means. But so many people were there that I didn't even get to see.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't see a lot of people.
They really did a good job promoting that. But I think, like I said, we're so lucky to have the shows and like not just sports cars, but you look at like the longest running shows here in Southern California, Frank and Son, Jimmy's USA.
Yeah.
It's just a place to go to every week, and I think people take that for granted sometimes who are here.
Yeah.
And I think other people who are not here are like, damn, you guys are real lucky you have all these opportunities.
And I think like, if you're starting a new business, whatever it is, you have to respect, a business that's been in the game for a while and like somebody that's starting out. Both need to respect each other.
Absolutely. Right? That's what it's all about. People need to work together, man. Really do. It'd make it easier on everybody.
100%.
It really would.
It would make it easier on us too.
It'd make it easier on us too. If everything was under one roof. But you know what? People have their differences, and it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Yeah. So that when I'm at shows, I always carry little scratchers with me.
I do.
And I like to give them to the kids. Kids come up and they'll say, "Oh, you have any scratchers?" So I'll give them a scratcher. So they get to scratch it. And it may be, $1, $5. I think I gave away $50. One of them was a $50 winner a kid got a couple weeks ago. Or there'll be like redemption cards for cards and stuff like that. Well, we got some of these tonight, right?
Yes, we have 5 scratchers.
We have 5 of these tonight.
And 2 of them will have basically an X out.
Wah, wah, wah.
But 3 will have some pretty cool stuff. So
3 of them are
we can get it. You want to get into it now?
It's up to you.
I mean, I'm kind of
You wanna wait till
down.
the end?
Yeah, we'll wait a little
Yeah,
bit.
we'll wait a little bit, but stay tuned because you guys are all gonna have a chance to
Yeah, so
win something.
3 of them definitely have some like dope stuff, like for sure. And then 2 of them we just put 2 in that don't get anything because we want to make it fun. I mean, I can still ship you like the actual scratcher if you want me to, but I don't think
Sasha will sign it for you.
no more signing, no more signing. But yeah, we'll get into that though a little bit later. Do you, Mark? Do you like for me, like right now, I'm starting to like look at like, you know, I was talking to you. I'm like, oh man, maybe I should buy some property. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. Like, do you have any other like businesses or anything like that you do, or
I mean, other than the cards, we do like the sports marketing end of stuff. We represent
okay,
a lot of old time Dodgers and stuff like that. Old time players. We've done signings with a lot of different guys. So that's like another division of like ultimate pastime, other than just like sports collectibles.
so you basically are the guy that um you book the
Yeah, we'll book somebody or we'll do signings with them.
so you'll book them, basically get them in a location, like set up the whole
Yeah,
signing, people come
make
in.
sure everything goes smooth. Make sure everybody's happy because everyone's got to be happy at a signing. The customers are paying. They need to be the happiest. The talent who's there needs to be comfortable and happy, and the person who's doing the show, the promoter of the show, needs to be happy because he needs to be making money. So the customers, you know, it's just a revolving door. You know?
So like, would you say like that's like, I don't know, like at one point was a big majority of your business, or
Yes, when the cards were not hot, absolutely, we were doing a ton of signings, a ton of signings.
so how, like, are you doing it as much right now, or
No, I'm doing more of the cards and stuff.
is there like a reason, or is it just like that's how it is?
You just go with the times.
Got you.
And for me, when I do our signings, some of these newer guys, you got to pay them per autograph. You got to pay if somebody wants to take a picture with them. I'm not about that. Like, I want to do like a family oriented, like meet and greet. Let somebody come in, get an autograph, take a picture at an affordable price where they're not paying an arm and a leg, you know?
Got you. So basically, but also like you talk about with me, like a lot of times when we're sitting down and stuff, like you still have relationships with a lot of these athletes.
Yeah, I do. But
And you like, you go out and like help them like sometimes, like,
yeah, we'll help them with all that stuff. But that's what you do. Like, you have customers who become friends, who ultimately become like family kind of thing, you know?
yeah,
And some of these guys are definitely family.
that's crazy. So like, you know, like a lot of like dope people then.
For what it's worth. I mean,
Yes.
it's fun. It like a lot of it's work though, you know, and it's hard because you're dealing with a lot of different personalities.
Yeah.
Like, and people show up, they're having a bad day. You need to make sure it turns into a good day before you put them on stage to go meet 200 fans, because that reflects you.
Yeah, that makes
You know what I mean? If they're going to be jerks to somebody, like, you don't want that. You need them, you know,
to be happy
in a
and
good mood. Yeah.
but how is that like so to give a little insight to like people, like how does that process like I know I was talking to this like lawyer one time who worked for this high profile athlete, and he was basically saying how like what his athlete would do was when he would do signings, he would take as much time as possible with each person.
So he signed less.
So he would sign less, but he got paid the same. He didn't get paid per signature.
Yeah.
He got paid for his time.
See, you don't want that.
So like, can you kind of like break us down into like a little bit of that?
There's two different ways you can do a deal. You could do a time deal. Okay. When that time is up, that timer goes off, the athletes could leave. Or you pay them more money, just sit there and sign if there's still 100 people out there. Or you do a piece deal, which is a guarantee. You pay them X amount per piece, a guarantee of an X amount. So they know they're going to get guaranteed at least this. They're going to get paid per piece. And then the promoter can mark up their cost and pass it on to the consumer, you know?
So it kind of is smarter to do like auto, like signature deals, right?
Per piece. Yeah. If it's a public, absolutely. If it's a private, they can sit down and sign, and like as a promoter would be better off. But if they're going to sit and talk to everybody, which I want at my events,
yeah,
you know, that's what I want. I want people to leave with a good taste in their mouth. And if you go on YouTube and look at some of the events we've done, I always say I don't want to work with the biggest names. I want to work with the best people. So like not the biggest, but the best.
Yeah.
And I think
because the customers will be happy too, right?
Absolutely. And that reflects upon your business as well.
That's interesting. Like could you name a couple of the people that you've worked with just to give a little sneak peek? Or
Yeah, I mean, from going back in the day, I mean, Magic, Kareem. I mean, there used to be Hollywood Park shows that would be ridiculous. I mean, Jim Brown, Wilt Chamberlain, Mike Tyson. Like, I mean, and
what are these guys?
And I have pictures with a lot of these guys, which is crazy to think, but my wife's like a big picture taker. Okay. So most of them were developed like off of, you probably don't even remember this. It had a camera. You'd have to like wind it, like click, 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 click. And then to go to the next shot, and then you take a picture, you have to wind it again. Do you remember those? They're like disposable cameras. Do you remember those guys?
I remember disposable. I remember like the ones like you had to go and turn it in. We would have like,
but dude, I was so bummed a couple times because we couldn't see if the picture turned out okay. And then I went to develop it, and like my freaking finger was in front of like the thing, and it had like a big shadow. You couldn't even see it, and it's like you have one shot.
What are these like guys like though? Like, I don't know, these like a lot of these like high profile guys, I feel like they don't like trust anybody. They don't like want.
That's the thing, man. You have to earn that trust. Just like anything else in life, you have to earn that trust and respect. And when somebody feels comfortable working with you, they're going to continue to work with you.
That's dope. And I feel like a lot of guys have like continued over the years. I mean, you always talk, when we're talking over lunch or whatever it is, like you're telling me like, hey, this guy just hit me up again, like wants to do another signing or all this stuff. And I think that's like really, really dope that like you continue to have like these relationships with these guys. Like that,
it's a two-way street though, because these guys, like they missed the mark. Some of these older guys missed the mark on getting the big contracts.
Yeah.
So they enjoy it too. It helps them out financially. It keeps their name out there. But like I said, man, not the biggest, but the best. And that's who I want to work with.
That's dope. So could you, I want to ask like, yo, like, could you give us like one dope story? But like, I don't know if you're like allowed to like say
there's some that I can talk about. Like
just the ones that you could talk about.
Mike Tyson. So my buddy, Sean, who owns American Icon Autographs, he's out of San Diego, big, he's doing a lot of UFC MMA stuff and wrestling and stuff like that. But I traveled with Sean and Tyson for literally 2 years, from 2011 to like all of 2012. And I mean, like shared hotel rooms, we did everything with him, and now he has an exclusive with Ryan Fitterman, great dude out of Texas, doing big things. I'm happy for Ryan. So we're with Tyson, and he had so much stuff to sign. And he would always ask, like, how's the family doing? Every time I'd see him, you know what? I said, my son Travis, he just got Student of the Month. And he's sitting there signing, and he's like, he stopped signing. He's like, Student of the Month? He goes, I never got Student of the Month, like Mike Tyson. But
that's
it
crazy.
Was cool, but yeah, he's the man for sure. He's definitely a really good dude.
Were you like signing with him while you were like he was fighting, or was it like kind of
no,
after?
It was after the fact. Have you seen he did that?
I saw him in LA like a month or two ago. We went to there was a golden like auctions event that we were able to attend, and actually like Kelvin was one that got us in. And there's this like little like section area by like this like bowling like thing, and he's there, and he's just chilling, like he's a chiller. Like you'd think like Mike Tyson, like he's like I don't know, like he's always like, but he was just chilling, vibing, like talking to people, like taking pictures. It was really cool to see. It was really cool to see like him being.
He has a very big heart, man. If I could,
it seems if
there's one word about Tyson that if I could describe him in one word, it would probably be misunderstood. He's very misunderstood, because once you get to know him and you actually see him on a personal level, he's a really, really good dude.
That's good to know. I mean, that's why I wanted to get a picture with him, but it was so busy that I was like, oh, whatever. And then maybe one day I'll get a picture of him with you. Sure. We were talking about shows and like how there's, we have so many amazing shows going on. Like, what you've ran shows and like trade nights and stuff like that before?
Yeah, doing trade nights before.
What does it take to like? What does it kind of take to like to start like a show, like to build one up? Like, because I feel like a lot of people are starting to do that right now, and like they kind of see like how hard it is, and like everybody's always like, oh man, this show wasn't good, this show wasn't good, show wasn't good, but they don't see like the time it takes to
hear that. I actually talked about that on my story the other day, and I said, like when you see these promoters and the people putting on these events, tell them thank you, because even though you didn't have a good show or you didn't do too hot, like these guys put a lot of time, effort, money, energy into running this event, whether it reflected on you or not. Like a lot of work went into to doing this event, and it's not easy, because you could make a show and people are like, oh, the tables are too expensive, I'm not going to sell there. Why would I sell there? Well, when you're selling at a show, you're not only getting the people walking up to buy stuff, you're getting people walking up who want to sell you stuff. And when you're on that side of the table, now advantage you.
Yeah.
Because you have expenses now.
Yeah.
You have a table. I got a table to pay for. Well, how can I pay full rate if I need to sell it for this? And that's where you're going to get your buys.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of times, like, people just want like something to, like, people go to show, oh man, it wasn't good. I'm like, bro, like, maybe you just didn't walk around and, like, try. I don't know. Like, it's weird. Like, I feel like, especially in today's age, like, people are like, oh, I went on eBay, there's nothing. Oh, I went to a show, there's nothing. Oh, I went on PWC, there's like,
some people are just negative people.
Yeah.
Like someone's gonna find something to bitch about anything.
Yeah.
And they're gonna bitch about it. Some people are just miserable.
Is it crazy to you to, like, see, like, these shops that, like, you have Bullpen, you have other shops, of course, Burbank.
Sure.
Like, is it crazy to see, like, maybe like how it was in the 90s to where they're at now? Like,
it is crazy. It is absolutely crazy.
Because now, like, you look at these shops, you're like, holy shit, like, they have so much insane inventory, insane wax, and
little empires.
It's crazy, right?
I'm telling you, it's crazy, and it makes me so happy for these guys, because I knew them when things weren't as good as they are now.
So you're mentioning earlier, like 2008, like a lot of shops are closing, even though there's not too many shops out there. Like, how do you get by? Because I mean, 2008, 2009, 2000, even 10 was pretty rough times.
It was very rough.
That was 2007, 2008 was the housing bubble and all that sort of stuff.
2006 locally got so hot because USC and Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, they came out of SC in 05, so the rookies were in 06. So remember I talked about 2005 football product being so shitty.
Yeah.
And then their 06 product, I mean, it went crazy because everybody was going after Vince Young and Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and all those guys.
So, I mean, 2005, 2006, amazing. Then 2008 rolls around and
it just tanked. Everything tanked. The housing market tanked. People buy this stuff with disposable income, and they buy it with extra money. And at the time, nobody had any extra money, like real talk,
So how was the business? Did you get through that time?
It was tough. I mean, I was working really long hours. We're trying to put side deals together for like signings, and you call the people that you helped before that, hey, you know what, is there any way I can pay you? Like, normally I'd give you $5,000, but like, would you do it for $3,000 for me? Things like, but you build those relationships prior.
Yeah.
And then they come back to help you in the long run.
So basically you're just extending your hours and kind of just
absolutely
grinding away.
And one thing my grandpa always told me, and Jimmy's from Jimmy's USA, he told me the same thing. It's funny because my grandpa told me it first, and I heard Jimmy say it. And he said, you know what, Mark? He said, a fast nickel is better than a slow dime. Meaning that make that nickel fast, sell that. Instead of waiting to make the dime, sell that nickel and just keep doing it and turn that nickel. He goes, you'll sell it 10 times before someone sells one dime.
And that brings my head to basically like cash flow. You'd rather have, $100 coming in every month than 1,000 maybe all at the end of the year.
Absolutely. But if you do that $100 on 8 different platforms.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Looking good.
And I think
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options out there, and utilize all of them. There's so many there's so many options out there to generate money, and it's too crazy right now to not work hard at this time, because this stuff is not going to last forever like this.
Is it funny to you though, like when you see somebody maybe who pulls like a big card or gets a big card all of a sudden, and they're just like they want to just hold it like forever, and you're just like, because like a lot of times, like I see it, like somebody pulls a big card, right? Maybe it's a 50K card, 100K card, and they're into it for whatever, very, very cheap, and like they're like, oh, I want, let's just say hypothetically the card's worth 50, and they're like, well, I want 60,000 for it. And I'm like, well, I'll give you 45 or 40.
Right.
And
I see both sides of that. At one of the seminars at the Mint, Sarah Layton was talking about. She talked about, like, somebody asked their biggest regret of a card, that they had or that was pulled, that they pulled and then they sold, and it was the Luca 1/1.
they had the Luca 101.
And yeah, I think it was Flawless or NT. And she's like, yeah, we got them like offered like close to like 60K, and they sold it at the time, and it sold for like 4.2 million. She was talking about. So that's like one of those things.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
Like we said, never look back. I've told you several times about the deal I did, about the Trouts and all that.
Yeah. Can you tell that story?
Oh my gosh. So
that's a good one.
It was a Sunday night, and I'm leaving for spring training on Monday morning. Okay. And this guy comes up at the table, and I was in Whittier at the time at Jimmy's, and he goes, "Do you buy cards?" I said, "Yeah, what do you got?" And he pulls out 5 Trout cards. I go, "Oh, what do you want for him?" He goes, "I need $1,250 for him." I said, "All right." So I look at him, that works. So I buy him for $1,250. I call Eric Mitchell.
Yep, 7th inning stretch.
Shout out 7th inning stretch, my guy. If somebody that I am, couldn't be more proud of is that guy. He used to work for me and come in my warehouse and list stuff for me and this and that back in the day. And I'm so happy where he is today. It makes me so happy. He's such a good dude. His family's great. I've known him forever. And so I call Eric on my way home. I said, "Hey, dude, you want a deal? I'm leaving for spring training tomorrow. I'll flip it for $1,450. He's like, "Yeah, I'll take it." So meet up, and I make $200. I'm like, "Yeah, cool. It's gonna pay for this is like 2010. 2011. I go, "That's cool. It'll pay for my hotel room for the week, whatever,
Yeah.
So yeah, those 5 cards are probably worth about $4 million. It was 2 of the red bum and chrome.
And what did Eric do with it? Did he
probably flipped it for like $1,750 or something? Like, but here, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't look back. Like, everything's replaceable. It's going to cost a lot, which I would never replace anyway. But even though I didn't get what I wanted for it, I never would have gotten the 3 or 4 million. I probably would have, maybe if I sold them for 20K, I'd still be kicking myself, and I would have made money. You know what I mean? Like crazy money.
Yeah.
And so, like, don't look back. Just enjoy what you got and be thankful for what you can make on this stuff. Because, like I said, certain things come and go, and it's not going to last forever. The market's always going to be here, but it's not going to be this strong like it is right now.
Yeah.
And just
like, if you have any advice for like somebody who's playing in this market right now, what would that be?
Don't get too attached.
Don't get too attached.
Because if you fall in love with the stuff, and if you're in it to sell it, you're never going to want to sell it.
Yeah. You could be in love with basically the game of it, but not the physical asset.
Exactly. But don't get too attached, I think, would be my advice. And buy what you like.
Buy what you like. He has it literally trademarked, guys.
It is. Here, you want a sticker?
I do want a sticker.
You got a sticker here?
We actually I think it's time to do the giveaway.
I think we should do that.
This is actually dope. This is a perfect bumper sticker for the car. All right, we have the stickers over there.
One of those.
Yeah, all of them have cool prizes.
Except for 2, but one of them is really cool.
One of them is really, really cool. Okay, so let me start. So I don't know if you've seen how it looks on Whatnot before, but I'm gonna do a giveaway. So I go here and I literally just press pin item for giveaway.
One of them, they got to be local to win.
And then people are just one of them have to be local to win. But I don't remember which one it was.
Doesn't matter. We'll go to the next. We'll go to number 2 if they're not local.
I guess
we'll figure it out. We could do.
Or they gotta fly, or they have to just fly in.
Yeah, if it's that cool to them, they can fly out.
All right, we have started the giveaway. We have 24 entries. Yeah, so what we'll do when I draw the winner, you can just pick which one out of the 5 you want to do that.
Whatever. Yeah, they should pick the
Okay, got you. When we draw,
that's why they're not.
Basically, you have to pick 1 through 5. So I'll start the giveaway, or start it now. We're drawing winner. Dr. Stylebender. It's a dope name.
Dr.
All right, you can pick 1 through 5. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4.
1 through 5.
I'm talking too much. 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5.
Kylie's like, pick 1 through 5, dude. Right? 1 through 5.
All right, he said 5.
Number 5.
All right.
Scratch it. Sash.
You want me to scratch it?
Scratch it.
All right. Well,
get that clipboard. And
I know we gotta this is actually really cool. So basically, Marc has these scratchers where he for his business he does it, but for in this case, we've kind of come together to give away some stuff.
We're gonna give some stuff away.
So we got
two of them aren't winners though.
So you can't see it, but I guess we basically just gonna tell you what it is. But we're gonna scratch this off, and we're gonna. Oh, pain. My guys, I'm sorry. This is the not your winner one.
That's not a winner. Well,
you're not a winner, bro. So I can still ship this.
Put it up on the screen. Put it up on the.
I can still
for everybody who's left in it.
I can still ship this to you.
There's only 2.
I honestly totally forgot that there was 2 that didn't have
2 that are not winners.
I will ship this for you, dude. I'll ship this
cool
to you.
Giveaways though.
All right, so now it's time to draw the next winner, or I guess draw for the next giveaway. So we're gonna go number 2. We're gonna pin item. And here we go.
So now we got 1, 2, 3, or 4, Sash.
We have 34 people so far. 35. Should we wait or should we go? Should we run it? All right, draw a winner. See it like on the thing, like there's like a scroll.
Cool.
Tab slabs. 1, 2, 3, or 4. You let me know. Tab slabs. He said 3. You want to scratch it off this time?
Well, the good news is the other 3 are going to be winners.
This was a no-go?
This is a no-go. So congratulations to the next 3 people. You're definitely winners. What are the odds of that? All right, run it again. Run it back. You got 3 more, and these are all winners. Did you grab the right stack, Sash?
Hopefully. Here we go. All right, we got 30 people so far. There should be more entries because now you actually have a higher. You're going to win something.
Everybody should be entering now. It's a guaranteed win.
All right, we have 38 people. I think that's solid. 39. Should we wait till 40? Boom, 40. All right, we're drawing.
It's a no-brainer now. You're guaranteed to get something.
Bernie _18.
What number, Bernie?
What number? 1, 2, or 3?
4. 1, 2, or 4.
Oh, 1, 2, or 4. He said 2.
2. Scratch it.
This might be a solid one. You get a 1989 Fleer Ken Griffey Jr. PSA 10. I'm going to get that card for you.
It's sitting right there. That is actually compliment. Look at this card. Talk about the junk era, okay? You can buy these cards for $5 raw, but 10s are like $150 to $200 all day. It's crazy. And shout out to Luka Doncic PC.
We were at lunch earlier.
And he said, hey, this would be a good thing to give away. Kelvin, thank you very much.
Yep.
It's awesome, man.
He wanted to make sure that, there's a little bit of 90s and 80s.
That's pretty cool. Live. So we talked about the 86 Fleer, right? We talked about some junk era stuff. So there you go. Congrats on that.
Congrats, Bernie.
All right, Bernie. So
we got 1 and 4, right? Yeah. Got 1 and 4 left.
1 and 4.
All right, here we go.
Winners.
All right, I think I'm just gonna
run it. Just run it.
Just run it at 39. Somebody said I'm flying LAX from LAX to SNA if I win. Chauncey Garcia, 1 or 4. 1 or 4.
Chauncey Garcia. I know Chauncey Garcia.
You know?
Yeah.
4.
If it's the Chauncey Garcia, I know. Let me see. You go scratch it.
You get a Karl Anthony Towns Prism rookie. BGS 9.5.
Nice.
You got a Karl. He's been balling too. Karl Anthony Towns Prism rookie BGS 9.5.
If the next person's not local, Chauncey may trade that.
Yeah, we might have to do a trade. Yeah, I agree. All right. We got 1 left, and it's number 1, which is funny. All right, we got 34 entries. We got 1 more scratcher left. We're at 4. Wow, the entries are pulling in. I would say, guys, if you aren't local, this probably isn't the giveaway for you. But now we have 48 entries, so let's just draw a winner.
There's 1 left. I mean, everyone should jump in.
Everybody who's hit has been local.
That's good.
Just not the scratcher we wanted.
Well, hopefully
maybe
they can trade or something.
Yeah, maybe we trade.
If Chauncey Garcia wants to trade this,
All right,
right
dip
here.
red. Dip red. What you get is lunch or dinner with Marc and Sasha. Lunch and dinner.
We pay for it.
We pay. We'll pay for it. A full dinner with us.
Somewhere local, LA, Orange County.
LA, Orange County, somewhere. Japanese barbecue could be a massive play.
Tap on. They cook in front of you.
Yep.
I like that.
So that's what you win.
Just not Sizzler.
But dip red again. We're here in SoCal, so if you want to do a little trade, we could do that.
If Chauncey wants to trade,
yeah.
See if Chauncey wants to trade.
Dip red said trade, please.
What is Chauncey okay with that? You got to make sure Chauncey's okay with that.
Done. Trade. Chauncey is cool with that.
Okay, easy peasy. So so we're going to lunch or dinner with Chauncey.
Yeah,
I know
so,
Chauncey.
there we go.
Good people.
So what is Chauncey hit? What would
Chauncey hit this?
Okay, so dip red. You get the Carl Anthony. You get the Carl Anthony Towns rookie. Chauncey, you got to go to dinner with us.
Chauncey's going to dinner.
That was fun.
That was a good time, man.
All right, well, dope little giveaway at the end, Marc. Man, I appreciate it. That was really fun.
Thanks for having me, man. Hopefully, we could enlighten some of the collectors and keep the hobby hot.
100%. Guys, if you are watching on Whatnot, I appreciate it. If you guys are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate that. I appreciate all of them. But if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, follow the channel, comment anything you want to comment in the comment section. I'll get to it, or Marc will get to it. But appreciate it, guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thank you, guys.